If you've ever watched an Amish woman walk past in a cape dress and a white covering and thought, that looks peaceful, I get it. From the outside, modesty can look like calm, safety, and simplicity. But here's the question nobody asks out loud, and I'm going to ask it straight. Is modesty used to control Amish women? My name is Sarah. I'm an ex-Amish girl from Pennsylvania, and I'm making this video because people argue about Amish modesty like it's either beautiful and holy or oppressive and cruel, and real life is usually messier than a clean little label. So let's talk about what modesty actually means in Amish communities, who sets the rules, how they're enforced, and why something that's preached as spiritual can also become a tool that controls women's bodies, choices, and futures. First, modesty in Amish life is not just about clothes, it's a whole worldview. It's tied to humility, obedience, and the idea of yielding yourself to God and to the community. In many Amish churches, there's a strong belief that the community stays strong when individuals don't stand out. That's why you'll hear plainness talked about like a shield against pride. And it's important to say this clearly. Amish men also have rules. They dress plain too. They don't usually wear jewelry, they keep their style simple, and in many groups, married men grow beards while avoiding mustaches. So modesty isn't only a women thing, but here's where it changes. Women's modesty is more detailed, more visible, and more heavily policed. It's not just dress plain, it's how long, how loose, how covered, what colors, what patterns, what fabric, what your hair is doing, whether your sleeves are the right length, whether your neckline is high enough, whether your dress fits too closely when you bend over to pick something up. And when your rules are that specific, the message is not just be humble. The message becomes your body is a problem that must be managed. In a lot of Amish communities, women cover their hair with a cap and often wear a bonnet over it outside the home. That's explained as religious, tied to prayer and modesty, and the teaching is that a woman's hair is part of her beauty and should be covered. That sounds simple, but think about what it trains into your bones from the time you're little. You learn that your normal, natural appearance is powerful enough to cause trouble, not because you did anything wrong, but because you exist. And then there's the part most outsiders miss. Modesty rules aren't just personal choices, they're part of what's called the Ordnung. The Ordnung is the set of church standards that govern daily life. Some of it is written down in some groups, a lot of it is understood through tradition, preaching, and what gets corrected. And who leads church? In the Amish, the formal leadership is male, bishops and ministers are men. That matters. Because when modesty rules are enforced from the pulpit and the authority structure is male, women aren't just being encouraged to be humble. They're being shaped under a system where men hold official power and women are expected to submit. Now, does that automatically mean every Amish woman is being controlled against her will? No. Many Amish women genuinely believe in these teachings. Many find meaning in them. Many feel protected by the boundaries. It can feel comforting to live in a world where you're not competing, not performing, not constantly being judged by mainstream beauty standards. But here's the hard truth. Something can feel meaningful and still function as control, especially when there's no real freedom to disagree. Because what happens if a woman doesn't follow the modesty standards in her community? This is where control stops being theoretical and becomes practical. If you're baptized and you openly break church rules, it can lead to church discipline. In some cases, that can escalate to being shunned, also called Meidung, depending on the community and the situation. And shunning isn't just someone doesn't like you. It can mean social and spiritual separation. It can mean strained family relationships. It can mean losing your support system in a culture built on community. So if your entire life is inside that network, modesty isn't just a preference. It's social survival, and the control isn't always loud. A lot of it is quiet. It's the looks, the comments, the way someone's voice changes when they say, "You might want to fix your covering," or "That dress is a little bold." It's older women correcting younger women because they were corrected too. It's the community enforcing the rules through constant awareness that you're being watched. That's why I say modesty can become control even when nobody is yelling. It becomes internal. You start monitoring yourself before anyone else has to, and it goes deeper than clothing. Modesty is also taught as a behavior. Be soft-spoken, don't argue, don't draw attention, don't act worldly, don't put yourself first, don't chase personal ambition. And in many Amish settings, women are taught that the man is the spiritual head of the home, so modesty becomes linked to submission, not just simplicity. If you're a woman who is naturally outspoken, curious, opinionated, or bold, modesty teachings can start to feel like a spiritual leash, not because humility is wrong, but because the version of humility you're offered is often gendered. Men are expected to lead, women are expected to follow. Now, let's talk about the part that makes people uncomfortable, but we have to talk about it if we're being honest. Modesty can be used to shift responsibility for men's thoughts and behavior onto women's bodies. Even in very conservative religious spaces, you'll hear the idea that women must dress a certain way so men won't be tempted. That turns modesty into a kind of preventative discipline. It teaches girls early that male desire is dangerous, and the solution is for the girl to shrink herself. That's not empowerment, that's conditioning. And the reason this matters is because it doesn't just shape how women dress, it shapes how women think about their own agency. If you're trained to believe that your body can cause spiritual harm, it becomes harder to say no, harder to speak up, harder to name mistreatment, and easier to blame yourself when something feels wrong. Another layer people don't connect is education. The Amish are well known for typically ending formal schooling around 8th grade, and there's a long history behind that. But practically, limited schooling limits options. For boys and girls, yes, but especially for girls, because their expected path is often marriage, home, and children. If modesty is the ideal and the world is dangerous, then independence can be painted as rebellion. So control doesn't happen through modesty alone. Modesty works together with limited outside exposure, strong community boundaries, and the high social cost of leaving. Now, I want to be fair. There's also another truth. Modesty can be a place where Amish women hold power too. Women often teach the standards. Women often set the tone inside families. Women run households, manage food, organize life, and in many communities, they're incredibly competent and respected in that sphere. Some women love plain dress because it rejects the pressure to be sexy, trendy, or consumable. But here's the difference between a boundary and a cage. A boundary is chosen and can be renegotiated. A cage is enforced, and the door comes with consequences. So, is modesty used to control Amish women? In many Amish communities, yes, modesty can function as control, even when it's framed as faith, because when a system ties a woman's worth to her conformity, when leadership is male, when enforcement is communal, and when the cost of noncompliance is social or spiritual punishment, modesty stops being just modesty. It becomes a tool that keeps women predictable, compliant, and contained. And if you're watching this thinking, but some Amish women are happy, I believe that. I also believe happiness doesn't automatically mean freedom. People can adapt to what they've been taught is holy. People can make meaning inside limits, and people can still be controlled by a system they love. If you want the most honest takeaway, it's this. Modesty itself isn't the enemy. The question is, who defines it, who enforces it, and who pays the price when a woman says, "This doesn't fit me." That's the difference between a spiritual practice and a control mechanism. And if you want me to go deeper in the next video, I can talk about how modesty connects to dating, marriage expectations, and why leaving can feel like losing your entire identity overnight.